Broadcom has announced new networking chips that are aimed at the hot AI market. The Sian2M and Sian3 are digital signal processors, or DSPs, that are designed to work with the 200 gigabit lanes that Broadcom is aiming at hyperscalers running 800 gigabit Ethernet and 1.6 terabit Ethernet. One of the biggest advancements in these DSPs is the reduced power consumption for fiber optics. This reduction in consumption, along with advanced technologies like forward error correction, should encourage people to upgrade to their latest chipsets, according to experts. Tom, you're an expert. Why is reduced power such a big draw in networking?
Have you been in a data center recently? They get a little warm. When you look at the fact that more and more of these devices that we're putting in there, especially when you talk about AI, consuming more and more and more power. I mean, we saw a server that Cisco announced at Cisco Live Europe back in February that was consuming 12.5 kilowatts of power for the server when it was fully loaded with GPUs. And you think, what, 4 of those in a rack? So you're already bumping up against, 50 kilowatts just for the servers, but you have to do something with them in order to get them to talk to other stuff, right? Well, here's the deal. Those high powered lasers that you need to run 800 gigabit Ethernet or 1.6 terabit Ethernet need a lot of power in order to work properly. And that means that you're already going to be creating a lot of power draw per rack. But the waste product of power is heat. And this is something that we heard at Tech Field Day years and years ago from Andy Bechtolsheim. He said that the biggest blocker for getting past 800 gigabit Ethernet wasn't going to be laser quality or fiber quality or sunspots or cosmic rays or any of that craziness. It was the fact that they couldn't make a device that could dissipate the heat fast enough in order to make that, workable. And now we're in a world where AI will consume all of the bandwidth that you throw at it as fast as you can get it there. But we still have to make these things efficient enough that they're not like these tiny little radiators that are, you've got a 3 rack unit size switch that is basically a giant heat sink for one 1.6 terabit optic. So I think that, these new chips are digital signal processors. So they're working on enhancing the signal quality that you're already getting. And by reducing the power draw that these lasers produce and enhancing the signal quality, you're effectively saying, you can reduce the amount of power that you need to run to the rack in order to make the networking equipment work better. And they've been tested over the short haul multi-mode fiber as well as the long haul single mode fiber. Very important there because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the days of plugging an Ethernet cable into a server to do this stuff, they're long gone. Maybe in your management network, but like if you're talking about, the cards in the servers connecting to a top of rack switch that goes to the end of row, all of that is done through fiber. And the shorter the fiber runs, the more optimal that run data collection stuff can be. So you've got to make sure that fiber works at optimal capacity at all times. And that's why you're starting to see this focus on not just building bigger, beefier, better, but creating these DSPs in this case to condition that signal to make it better. I think that when you're looking at the fact that we're still a ways away from creating more additional power delivery to giant data centers, I think this is actually going to spur kind of a round of innovation where people are going to say, well, if I can't get more power into my data center, I need to keep the things that I'm already using from consuming all of it. So let's do a swap out to these, 200 gig lanes. It's a less complex switch that uses less power. That means there's more power budget available for the server, so I can maybe stick an extra GPU in it or something like that. But that's my speculation on the analyst side of things. I don't vote with this with my wallet, so there's no telling what people are going to say.